Hi golfers, Nick here from Untitled Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to be talking about the arm straight in the golf swing. What point do you need to have your arm straight to help you hit better golf shots? So if you struggle with inconsistency, topping and thinning the golf ball, then this is a great video for you. Right golfers, so first up here, it's going to hit my normal golf shot here. So I'm going to set weight forward at setup. As I swing here, I'm moving my shoulder down, hands inwards, arms straight and hips tucked. So they're the 10 words of sack and tilt. In today's video, we're going to talk about the arm straight. What point should the arms be straight? And a kind of a way for you guys to practice this, because I think it's one of the biggest issues I see, and it affects contact. You can see there on the screen that the contact on my shot there was bang out in the middle. I hit 4 degrees into out, 4.3 degrees downwards, nice little draw, pitched around 150 yards with an 8-iron, so definitely take that shot. A lot of golfers come to me with inconsistencies, and as soon as I start seeing them hit shots in the bay, you can start to see that distance control is something that they struggle with. Contact on the face is another thing they struggle with, and also controlling where their club hits the ground. Now, I've done plenty of videos talking about where the club hits the ground. Now in today's video, I'm going to be discussing why arm straight is so important and at what point of the swing your arms need to be straight. So first up here guys, if you're set up to the golf ball, both arms should be pretty straight as you set up. So if I don't return my arms straight at impact, and if I bend them, I'm pulling that club away from the ground, and that can do a couple of things. It can obviously top or thin the golf ball. You can also move the contact point more towards the toe. If you're bending these arms, you're pulling that club towards the toe. And this is one of the biggest inconsistencies I see. Generally that golfers bending their arms for a reason, right? And these are the things we're going to discuss today. What reasons do golfers bend their arms? And we're going to kind of show you some different moves that you can kind of practice to help you golfers out there have a more consistent golf swing. So if you imagine the golf swing is a circle, right? And the left arm and the club here, they form a radius for that circle. So we're trying to keep that intact in the golf swing. So if I'm set up with the left arm and the shaft pretty straight line at setup, and I break that down, it's going to make it very hard for me to control the golf swing. It's going to be very difficult in fact. So you need to really keep that relationship of the straight left arm and the shaft throughout the course of the swing. So as I explained that, we're talking about arms straight, but it's not like I'm keeping both arms straight through the swing. I'm allowing that right arm to fold in the backswing. It's still slightly bent here, but both arms are straight here. As I move through to right arm parallel, both arms are pretty straight. And then by the time I finish the swing, this left arm is going to fold, and then gradually this right arm will bend slightly. So now we're talking about the key mistakes I see golfers make throughout the course of the swing when they start bending these arms. So the first one is in the backswing. And now assuming the golfer's set up perfectly here with the weight forward, hands slightly forward at setup. So the first one is the golfer, as they move back, not using their body, not tilting their shoulder down, and not extending their spine. So the best golfers will move their shoulder down and they'll extend their spine. So as I'm doing that, I'm kind of extending my spine backwards here. The highest handicappers, the golfers that flex their arms, they stay in forward bend, and that makes it very difficult to turn and create any power, so they have to end up start bending their arms. Now I'm exaggerating it. Some golfers do this a little bit and they bend their arms. So learning how to move the shoulders, the hips properly in the backswing is a massive key of keeping the structure of the golf swing. We talked earlier about the right arm bending, but the main one to think about here is this left arm. So as you swing back, left shoulder down, extend backwards. So it feels like I'm really pushing this club away from me as I'm tilting and as extending back. And I think a good feeling for you guys out there, if you're bending your arms in the backswing, feel like the hands and the club go up as you tilt and bend backwards. Feel like your body movement's taking that club back, because I see too many golfers kind of taking the club back with just their arms. So feel like the shoulder tilt and bend and extension backwards is helping you give that sense of the club, right? That's going to help you move the club in the right way, and it's going to help you keep those arms straight and build a better structure in the golf swing. So assuming we've made a good backswing, the next thing we're going to talk about here is the issues we see at impact. So the best golfers, they've extended, tilted, kept this left arm pretty straight. As they come down, they're turning, pushing their weight forward. And by the time they hit the golf ball here, their hips are more forward than where they started. Head's pretty stable. There's a tilt here to the shoulders. And the handle's forward. Those things combined are going to help you hit in front of the golf ball. The highest handicappers, assuming they made a perfect backswing, they've either got their weight not too far forward, they're either on the back leg, or as they come down, they let the club shaft overtake that left arm and extend that radius behind the golf ball. Probably one of the biggest issues I see and the hardest one to change, but also probably the one that separates the highest handicappers from the best golfers in the world. So if you're able to have the handle forward, the hips forward, the head pretty stable, you've got a good chance of being able to keep those arms straight. Like I said, if you're going to hit behind the golf ball, the natural reaction is to avoid that and start flexing the arms. Now that will work sometimes. If you time that the right amount at the right time, if you bend your arms just enough as you hit the golf ball, you're going to sometimes hit good shots. You might catch the ball a little bit thin, but you can still hit good golf shots doing that. And that's where a lot of golfers are inconsistent. They've got too many moving parts, too many things breaking down to hit the golf ball. And I see this a lot where golfers in the Bay, they don't really take a divot on the course, and I can see them, their data on the screen here is attack angle up. So I'm going to replicate one of those swings. So the golfer that would keep the arm pretty straight here, weight back, and arms flex through impact. So you can hear the contact there on the ground. So first of all, I hit that shot, I hit the ground behind the ball. Now I had to bend my arms. I hit 5 degrees up, and because I bent my arms, I caught that ball off the toe. You'll be able to see the club data here. Contact point was on the toe. So golfers that flex their arms are pulling the club away from them. Tendency is to hit the toe. And 5 degrees upwards. Right? My weight was back, I extended the radius of my swing and hit behind the golf ball. So generally that's gonna, I'm either gonna hit fat or thin shots doing that and basically not have a consistent low point control. So far we've talked about the backswing, how to keep the arm straight by tilting and extending backwards. And then coming through, we talked about pushing the hips forward and the hands forward to move that low point in front of the golf ball. Now we're going to talk about the finish position and where the arm should be as we hit through all the way through to the finish. As we swing through to the finish, we have to move our body in a certain way to help us keep these arms straight. As I explained in the backswing earlier, the highest handicappers don't turn, they don't extend or tilt, these arms start bending. The same thing happens in the finish. If I was able to push my weight forward and extend backwards, that's the best chance for me to keep these arms straight. Too many golfers, as they hit through, they're maybe swaying around, but they're coming into impact here, and as they continue forward, they kind of move their chest downwards. When you move your chest downwards, there's no space for these arms, so they can't be straight. You're going to be hitting too steep, too much into the ground, taking big divots. So their way of kind of shallowing it out is by bending these arms. The best golfers in the world, they shallow the club out and they take the club out the ground by extending backwards. You have to learn how to tilt and extend going back, keep pushing your hips forward, hands forward, and then pushing your hips forward and extend into the finish. So the best drill I've found for this is to focus really on left arm parallel to right arm parallel golf shots. Simplifying the swing down a little bit, because I think if you try and hit as far as you do and as fast as you do, you're going to keep making the same mistake. As I go back, I'm only going to swing to left arm parallel. I'm going to feel my left shoulder moves down, I'm going to extend backwards. And then as I go through, I'm going to keep pushing my hips forward, my hands forward, extend backwards, and keep my arms straight. I'm not going to swing past left arm parallel to right arm parallel. So let's give it a go. So let's set up here. I've got my weight slightly to the left, left arm parallel to right arm parallel. And you can see on the screen there, shot's gone around about 100 yards. So that's pretty good for an 8-iron. The aim here is really just to work on contact. So let's hit one more. So important thing to do when you're practicing this drill is to be able to keep your balance. So going back, shoulder down, extend, tilt, left arm parallel, hips forward, hands forward, and arms straight in the finish. Now I'm creating that extension in the finish by pushing my hips forward. I'm not leaning back. Sometimes people think that. So weight forward at setup, hands forward, left arm parallel, right arm parallel. Now I'm keeping that balance in the finish there. And that's because my hips are forward, I'm extending backwards. If I was to move my head too much far forward, I would lose my balance. And if I was to fall back, I'd lose my balance and also struggle with the contact. So that's a really good drill for you guys to practice. If you struggle with keeping your arm straight, it's going to build a better structure to your golf swing, and it's going to kind of help you coordinate these movements to improve your contact, low point, and strike on the club face. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you again next week for another video.
The most I can feel, I'm here and you're not.
Let's do this once more. The point